So in today's video, we're going to be talking about an LPVO versus a red dot. Welcome back for another video. Thanks for joining me. If you are not subscribed, hit that button. If you're not following me on Instagram, go there and do that, and enjoy the video. So I'm going to try to make this video short and sweet because there's a lot more scientific versions of this video on YouTube. So if you want science, go to those channels. Just going to give you my thoughts, just some random dude that kind of got into guns like the past year and a half, and somewhat of a noob. Kind of give you that side of the experience other than people that have been shooting for years and years. If you're like me and you're not sure which way you want to go, hopefully this video helps you out a little bit. So let's just get into it quick. LPVO versus red dot. So this is my first LPVO right here. This is a Primary Arms SLX 1-6. I forget what they call their little thing on there. I don't remember if it was the Aurora, the Vulcan, or something. Has a little chevron, has some dots for like your holds and stuff. So if you're going to be talking about distance, you will enjoy your LPVO a little bit more than just a red dot, if you want to, especially if you want to get into precision. But at the same time, 1-6, is it necessary? I wouldn't say it's completely necessary. If you want to get into more distance shooting, you should probably go with something a little more than just the 6X. So far, I don't love it, I don't hate it. So once again, LPVO, pretty cool, but not cool at the same time. Let's just do a couple pros of the LPVO that I consider pros. So first off, it looks pretty cool. Sometimes form over function, I guess. One of the pros of it, you can get into it for pretty cheap, especially for something like with Primary Arms. They make some really good optics for a very affordable price. I know SIG has a cheaper version out also. I think it's like the Tango or something, but like 1-6 is your standard there. But you can get really expensive with them at the same time. So yes, you're dealing with magnification. You want your glass to be as clear as possible, and the more you spend on it, the better clarity and whatnot you're gonna get out of it. So you can get into it for cheap, but if you want something really good, gonna be spending some money here. So I know that wasn't really a pro of it, but I guess getting in for cheap is a pro. Another pro is your magnification. So obviously you have your 1X, which you look through, no problem, 1X. See everything the same way that I see out of it. But then you have this right here. You got all the way up to 6X if you really want. So 6X. Now we got a nice zoomed in of that mountain wall over there. Now we'll just talk about a couple cons of an LPVO. So size, obviously. Look at the size of this thing. It takes up basically the entire length of the lower going over your rail. It's a pretty big boy. And then also weight. Weight is an issue, obviously, especially if you have it on a sling or you're just carrying it around. Weight is going to be an issue with it. It's something you'll just get used to eventually, but when you switch over from a red dot over to LPVO, so I'll just throw this picture in there. I did have a red dot on this gun, and I just recently got the LPVO. Definitely noticed the weight of it. Since it's a little closer into your body, it doesn't bother you as much because the weight is in. But if it was further out, like once you throw like a suppressor on the end of it, then you really feel the weight at the end. Then there's people that have like laser aiming devices and whatnot. So just keep in mind the weight of it. Could get a little heavy, and sometimes weight's not great. Then the last, possibly the biggest con to me is, I guess it would be called your eye relief or the eye box through this thing. When you look through it at 1X, you have really no problem looking through. You got to find out your distance you really want the optic, because like if it was like right there, it'd probably be really good for me, but I have it set a little further back, and you'll see in these videos, you'll see like the little black shadow just around where you're looking. That gets worse with the more you zoom. So it's almost like if you're zooming in, if you zoom in, you almost want to pull your sock in a little bit just to get your eye all the way up close to it. And you kind of have to be dead center of it to see what you're trying to see through it. It's probably more of like a learning curve. It's not like the end of the world, but so far that's the main thing that I'm not loving about it. But I do love the magnification because obviously Not a big deal to people that actually know how to shoot, but I did hit a couple shots on my very small steel. I don't even know what size it is, but it's a small A zone. It's like 6 inches by like 13 inches. I hit it by from 200 yards away, and I was pretty hyped on that. Would never be able to do that with the red dot. I was zeroing the red dot earlier today at 36 yards, and I could barely even see the marks that I put on the paper to try to aim at. So obviously your magnification is a plus in situations like that. Now we're gonna go with the red dot. So a couple pros of red dots. I'm just gonna throw some out there in no particular order. Mounting system, you buy your red dot. Most of them come with the mounting system for you. LPVO, you gotta buy the scope, then you have to buy a mounting system for them, and that could be another couple $100 depending on what you go with. You could get into LPVO for decently cheap. Then you do have to buy the mount and whatnot. The red dots, you can get into it for decently cheap as well. It comes with the mount, so that's a plus, but you're only at 1x all the time unless you get the magnifier. Not a big deal. Other pro with this is battery life, illumination, whatnot. The LPVO, there might be ones that have this feature, but the holosun specifically, a couple of the other ones have auto turn off features, so if you leave them still for long enough, they just turn off, and then once you touch them, they turn back on. I know SIG does that. EOTech and Vortex, I think it's just a timer, so like after a certain amount of time, it just turns off, which is kind of annoying. But then also just your dot. So with this, you don't have to worry about eye relief. As long as you see through the window, you can see your dot. So your eye could be anywhere over here. You basically don't even have to specifically be on target with it, because this does have a ring and the dot in the middle. So if you know where your dot is and you know your holds, you could basically just send it without even seeing the actual dot itself, especially depending on where you zeroed it. If you're at a certain distance where you actually have to hold under the target. So just coming up, you have this big window and your eye could be anywhere to see it. It's pretty nice. There's no eye box or parallax, whatever the hell it's called. I don't know. Big plus. The thing with LPVOs is some people will even have a higher magnification. Instead of like a 1:6, they'll have like a 2 to something or whatever else. And then they'll have a side mounted, like a 45-degree red dot, like you would have on your handgun. You have your magnification if you need far, and then you're moving in close, you would just turn it. Then you would be looking through your red dot and then firing off some rounds. So there are different options. Like I said, pick one, go with it, learn to use it, and that's it. Don't worry what everyone else says. Just find something that you want, that you can afford, go with it, practice with it, become proficient with it. Don't look back. Then in the future, you could always just get something else to learn a little bit more, because that's what I'm kind of doing with the LPVO. I was kind of curious about it. That's why I went with the primary arms version. It was like $250, 300 bucks, I think. I forget how much it was exactly. Very lower end. The primary arm stuff does get pretty high reviews, and the SIG stuff, the cheaper versions of them, do get pretty high reviews also. I wanted to go with a low cost of entry into it just to get an idea, because I wasn't sure if I was going to like LPVOs. Still making up my mind on it. The eye box thing is not, I'm not crazy about it. The weight thing I'm noticing, I just have to practice more, get more rounds down range, and I don't think there's going to be an issue with it. I haven't made up my mind if I'm going to keep it yet, but like I said, we're just going to keep using it for a little while, get a little more used to it, and then make up my decision on it. So I know this video was a little bit random, a little bit kind of all over the place. If you learned anything, if you liked anything, just hit that subscribe button. Leave some comments down below so I know if this is the type of video you guys like or not. Follow me on Instagram. I'm gonna shut up. I feel like I've been talking for way too much when I try to make this video short, and I will see you guys in the next one. If you guys want to help the channel out at all, use the affiliate links down below in the description, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Stay strapped. We'll get clapped.